Well, it's a Wednesday afternoon, so what do you say we get the show on the road? Alright, hello and welcome to this episode of Worth Watching Wednesdays. Today, our little bit of movie news is that Lionsgate has announced that they are planning to make a Twitter movie. That's right, a movie about the origins and creations of Twitter, because hey, the social network did well, and that was about Facebook, so why not Twitter? If you want to know my opinion on this is essentially... I, for one, do not want to sit through a movie about the origins and creation of Twitter. I had enough trouble sitting through a movie about the origins and creation of Facebook, and that movie was mostly made up to actually make it interesting. And also, I really wish studios would just get it in their heads that just because one movie does successfully does not mean that movies based off of that movie will also do successfully. Like, you ever notice that when a really successful movie or movie franchise comes out, suddenly everybody tries to start doing that exact same thing with a slightly different plot in these really obviously based off of that movie kind of movies? Which is really problematic, because audiences don't want to watch a bunch of movies like the one that they actually liked. They want to watch the movie that they actually liked, because people are attached to that movie. Why? Because it was actually original, not because it was based off of some really similar movie that came out like a year before it. This is bad for everybody, because the studios end up losing money because the movies bomb terribly after people don't want to go see them, and we, instead of actually getting new original movies that we would like, get movies based off of other movies that we actually did like. But we don't like the new movies based on those old movies because they're no longer original and fun anymore. I will say it right now. No movie that is purely made for the sake of a cash grab is ever going to do well, because audiences are smart enough that just pure cash grab movies are obviously pure cash grab movies. They're not going to see them because no heart was put into the making of the movie, and so no one actually cares. So Lionsgate, instead of making a movie about Twitter, please make a movie about something actually interesting that's going to start a bunch of people trying to imitate you. That's the mark of a good movie, is when for like 10 years afterwards, people keep trying to repeat the same process that you did to make that movie so successful and none of them work. That's what makes a good movie. Anyways, let me know what you think of this bit of news in the comments down below. Alright, so for my review/recommendation of the week, I'm going to be recommending the entire original Lord of the Rings trilogy to you guys. Now, most of you already know what the plot of these movies is, but for those of you who don't, the plot's kind of complex and a little too difficult to get into here, so I'm going to explain it very simply. Your main character is a young hobbit named Frodo. He gets charged with taking this magical ring and destroying it, because the ring is going to be used for evil if he does not destroy it, because it's evil in of itself, and the person who created it is evil, and they are going to try to use it to ensnare the entire world in darkness. So his goal is to go with other people to this giant volcano and drop the ring in, because if he doesn't, the entire world is going to be clouded in darkness. So that is his mission, and the three movies follow his mission and the mission of the characters alongside him along the way. And yeah, that summary is not the greatest on my part, but I think the chances of someone not knowing the most basic plot of Lord of the Rings at this point is kind of nil, so we should be okay. Anyways, these movies are epic in every sense of the word. They are all over 3 hours long. They take place in this fantastical sort of medieval Middle Ages type world where you've got different mythological creatures and people and very noble characters on a quest to save the world. You cannot get more classically epic than that. They're based off the novels by J.R.R. Tolkien, who originally wrote them, and they're directed by Peter Jackson. Now, Peter Jackson is a great director, especially when it comes to Lord of the Rings. He had a couple missteps, in my opinion, when he tried to do King Kong and things along those lines. But when it comes to Lord of the Rings, he knows what he's doing, and he does them really, really, really well. And the cinematography in these movies is absolutely perfect throughout the entire trilogy. When you are in a happy, sort of idyllic place, everything is just glowing and golden and sparkling and super vibrant. And when you're in somewhere dark and depressing, everything is washed out and dark and feels super gritty, and everything's sharp and contrasty. And when you're in a place that's all mystical, everything's glowing and soft. That just throughout the entire movie, the camera moves, the tone, the color correction, and the grading of this entire movie reflects perfectly whatever tone the scene is supposed to have. I don't know how long they spent on the actual color correction process of this movie, but there was an insane level of thought that went into it if you just watched the movie all the way through. Like, all of the different colors of each scene tell you something about what's going on. And these movies have a fairly large cast of characters, but they are so well differentiated between each character. Like, they each have their own perfect personality, and they're very strong characters and played by very strong actors. And so the whole mix of people as a whole works really well, and you don't feel like you're missing out on any individual character. Which is tough to do when you're dealing with a setting as broad as The Lord of the Rings, with a cast of characters. I mean, you probably throughout the course of the movies are dealing with 20 to 25 major characters in the movie who you actually get to know and know a lot about. That's no easy task to try to pull that together and make it still like interesting and exciting, so they did a really good job with that. And technologically, these movies are amazing as well. They pioneered the technology Massive, which is this crowd simulation software where essentially you can like computer generate these huge battles of tons and tons and tons of people fighting each other, and each each individual little personage of computer generated has their own fighting style, an own field of view, so they can tell friend from foe and actually like realistically fight in this giant simulated battle. Because in Lord of the Rings, you're dealing with these battles of like 100,000 people fighting each other, and so you kind of can't really use a real crowd for that because it would just get too huge. But they do it extremely well in the movie, and it looks really, really convincing. Now, Howard Shore composed the soundtrack to this movie, and Howard Shore is an absolute genius when it comes to developing themes for certain characters and places. There are recurring, like, musical themes in this movie that come back over and over at exactly the right points that you suddenly know, okay, we're headed in this direction, okay, this is going to happen in certain ways, because the music instantly flips that switch in your mind even if you don't realize it. And the amount of effort that everybody just put into this to create this really living world that was extremely in-depth and had a history to it, because when J.R.R. Tolkien wrote these books, he developed languages that went with the books and backstories for all of these background characters. And so little elements of that are woven into these movies where for each of the different sort of cultures and races in the movie, their armor and their architecture all reflects their different symbolism and their symbols that go with their culture and things like that, and the differences between those. And there's just so much work was done into this. And Howard Shore, for the soundtrack, he brought in choirs to sing in the languages that Tolkien made up for this. It was just so much work went into this, making it feel extremely authentic and making it this real feeling world. So Lord of the Rings, it's over 9 hours of movies altogether. If you haven't seen them, you really should, because they are phenomenal movies and are really just a part of film culture and film history at this point. That's right, the first Lord of the Rings came out 12 years ago. Yeah, feel old. So I love all 3 Lord of the Rings movies. My favorite is The Two Towers, but I love them all. I would give them as a whole about a 9.5 out of 10. Alright, thank you for watching this episode of Worth Watching Wednesdays. Now, there's not going to be an episode of Worth Watching Wednesdays next week because that'll be Christmas, but the week after that we should be back. So like the video if you liked it, comment on what you'd like to hear me review / recommend next time, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Bye.